Tom here from Metalloud, and welcome to part 3 of the Underoath Review Series. Let's take a look back at the changing of times. The Changing of Times is a fairly apt title for this album because it's a bit of a pivot point in the band's history and their career and the sound overall. And this is really the album that kind of sets them off onto the path of success that they later found. This is where they start to kind of move away from the pure Christian metal, deathcore, whatever you want to call it, that they had in the previous two albums, the first two albums. And they kind of transitioned into a sound that's more in line with the whole post-hardcore and screamo thing that was going on at this time. This was 2002. This is where we started to see bands like Every Time I Die and Norma Jean, as well as bands like Taking Back Sunday or Say Anything, for instance. And while Underoath didn't really move away completely from that really kind of dark metal sound that they had in the beginning, there's still remnants of that sound, definitely on songs like, for instance, A Message for Adrian sounds like something it would be off of Cries from the Past. And it just feels larger, though, on this album. They've definitely improved upon that sound, as well as transitioning into something else entirely. Those changes in the sound can really be heard right out of the gate with the song When the Sun Sleeps, for instance, which makes great use of Aaron Gillespie's just vocal talent on here and his smooth vocal work during the chorus, especially, and that whole breakdown with the sing-along kind of breakdown there, which is a bit of a staple of post-hardcore and screamo, especially during that era, and it's put to great use on this album here. And this is really good because I know I keep harping on this throughout each of these albums, but one of the things that kind of drags this album down, again, is Dallas Taylor's screaming. It just does not fit in with this band and with this sound, and he's really not comfortable in this range, and I'm not sure why he kept trying to push it so much as he did during this time period. It just feels really rough and abrasive, a bit out of place. His voice really is not suited for the range, and it shows on these songs here. We know Dallas Taylor could do great work. It's just not present here on this album or on any of the previous albums either. And that said, it's a good thing that this album really does improve in a lot of ways. For instance, The Changing of Times really shows the guitar work here is much, much more improved. You get some better riffs, you get some of these really kind of long drawn out guitar chords that just bring some kind of atmosphere to the sound and really just add a layer of feeling to it. The electronic work, which again is by member Chris Dudley, who was introduced with Cries of the Past, also enhances that bit of atmosphere that they're going for on here. And Underoath was really one of the few bands that uses keyboards and electronic work in a way that's actually integral to the sound versus sounding like something that was just thrown in there or that they felt was necessary on there. It feels like it is actually necessary to their sound, and a lot of that is the way they work around each other. They do bounce off each other very well, whether it's the drumming, the guitar work, the bass lines, the keyboards, but also a lot of that is Chris Dudley's actual electronic work, which is fantastic on here as well. It really does sound cohesive with the rest of the band and the sound. Now, they really step things up with The Changing of Times. I mean, there's definitely a few elements there that are a little bit lacking, like, again, Dallas Taylor's vocal work on there, and some of the production really isn't all that great. This is the same, I believe it's the same person who produced Cries of the Past as well. This time they're actually signed to Solid State Records, and unfortunately, some of it is still really missing and really lacking on here overall in terms of layering and things like that. That really could have done better, but it is a huge step up for the band versus their first two albums. And the 2 years between when Cries from the Past came out and this album, Changing Times, came out, it just made such a huge difference in their work and what they were willing to put into it. And, there's a lot of bands that really kind of stay stagnant and just fail to kind of prosper, but Underoath really set themselves up here for success and, ready to break out, especially with the changing music scene. Thank you so much for watching part 3 of the Underoath Review Series. Next time, we're going to be taking a look at their kind of breakout big album, They're Only Chasing Safety. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And make sure you're following me on social media on Twitter at Metalloud, Facebook.com/Metalloud, and Instagram Metal_Loud to stay up to date on all things Metalloud.